that goes for the market as well. Before we even go to my next guest, I want to just give you an alert here. All the major indices taking it on the chin pretty good, particularly the NASDAQ. Now, that's where all these future stocks trade. And here's the thing. For some consumers, maybe the future's coming just a little bit too fast. And so how does that work when you're trying to invest in them? I'm going to bring in Market Gauge Group's Michelle Snyder. You know, Kelly mentioned that Morning Consult poll. It talks about the comfort level we have, like, you know, how soon we do things. Some of those things on there, though, we don't have a big comfort level with yet. The metaverse, crypto, self-driving cars. So how would you invest right now if you wanted to have exposure to self-driving cars? Is it too early, or do you start to position yourself?
Well, I think we can learn a lesson from Cathie Wood here in that you can position yourself but be prepared for a big dive, because the big question to ask right now is what stocks are going to survive higher interest rates? And that's definitely going to be impactful technology. So even though we're looking at companies like Luminar, for example, that has technology for self-driving cars, and obviously Elon Musk and Tesla also really doing big data in terms of cars on the road, thousands. At this point now, I think you really have to look and step back at the macro. And yes, technology is the future, but as investors, timing is everything.
So then right now you're saying, and by the way, I do want to let the audience know, last time you were on, you were a little cautious about this market. I guess this is the sort of pullback you were anticipating. You let it come down and then you go for your shopping list?
Absolutely. And let's stick with the technology theme. So you still have to look at companies like Apple, NVIDIA, and Amazon, and Tesla, for example. These companies are definitely going to be the areas that we look for at lower levels, especially since Apple, in terms of that report we were just talking about, smartwatches, more rugged watches they're coming out with. They're also entering into the EV space. People really are looking for things that have to do with virtual reality. That's something that Amazon and Apple are getting into. So these are the areas that I would be looking at on this dip. But let's make it real simple, Charles. By the end of next week, we'll have a good January range, and then we can see the things that break out of that range, and that's what I'd be looking to follow.
Now, I got less than a minute to go. So what do you do with cash right now? Do you sit on it? Do you go with this whole value thing? Do you just try to find, traditional inflation ideas? What do you do with the cash you have available?
Well, I would definitely be looking at commodities still. We saw it today. There was a tremendous move in steel and CLF. Even gold held on to some gains. Also oil going up. So I still like that area. I still think food commodities could be a good play. And consumer staples have been the other. Right. And the other area I'm looking at very carefully here are things that are inflation proof. And that would be something like medical devices. Okay. Because once COVID goes away, a lot of procedures that people didn't have will then come back, and that can bring a big spurt to that whole sector.
You gave us a good list, and believe it, today is the day people need it. In the meantime, Liz Claman, you get all the funnest